Hey, Jeffrey Pepper Rogers back with Guitar Sessions, and I'm here with a lesson on the sweet sound of sixths. This is a follow-up to an earlier lesson I did where I talked about how to find and play those kind of harmonized lines like what I was just doing, which you probably recognized as the intro to Cat Stevens' Peace Train. These kinds of lines harmonized in sixths sound great on the guitar, used in all kinds of classic songs, really useful for lead and any kind of accompaniment. So in the earlier lesson, I talked about how to find those sixths from the major scale and how to play some licks and lines over major chords. So what I'm going to do this time is add minor chords to the mix, and as well as seventh chords, and so that'll give you the tools to use to play not just a bunch of classic riffs, but also create your own harmonized lines like this to use in your own songs. So as with all the episodes of Guitar Sessions, you can find the charts and tab for everything that I'm doing over on Patreon. So as I covered in the earlier lesson, you can find these sixths based on the scale. And I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase and go right here and play you some harmonized minor scales here. I'm going to start in E minor. And we're going to find these two pairs of these sixths on the first and third strings and on the second and fourth strings. And I should say right from the top, I'm using hybrid picking because we're playing pairs of strings that are not next to each other. So I'm using the pick for the lower note, my middle finger for the upper note. Of course, you can play this finger style without a pick at all, and that works great as well. So in E minor, let's just start with that first and third strings pair, and I'm going to start right there with the open first and third strings in E minor. So I've got the E, I've got the root on top, and then I'm just going to move up the neck on those two strings playing notes that are separated by a sixth. So here's what we get. One more time. All right, so if I want to play those notes, those pairs, those sixths on the second and fourth strings, those place where I started there with the E on top, in order to play that on the second and fourth strings, I could do it right here. So first and third strings, second and fourth strings. So if I play the second and fourth strings at the 5th fret, I've got that E on the top. And I'm just going to start my scale from there and move up the neck. I'm going to go as far as the 12th fret, and then I'm going to go and start down in open position and come up to this and end on this again. So here we go. I'm at the 12th fret, and I'm going to go back down to the open string. So these notes at the 12th fret are the same as these on the open strings, an octave lower. So let me play that again on the second and fourth strings. And there is my E minor, E natural minor scale harmonized in sixths on the second and fourth strings. So anytime I'm playing an E minor, I could be using notes, those sixths over it as part of a lead line or a riff. So one thing I should add about E minor too is if you followed along with the earlier lesson with these harmonized scales over major chords, you may realize that there's a similarity here, that what I'm playing in E minor is actually the same as what I would play over G major. The reason for that is because G major and E minor, they are relative majors, relative minors of each other. The key signature is the same with one sharp. So the notes of those scales are the same. And so it can help you if you're trying to find a sixth over an E minor chord. It may help you to think of the fact that the fingering would be the same as what you would use over a G with a different bass note. So let's move over to A minor now. And once again, I want to start with the root on the top. And to do that in A, I'm going to start up here at the 5th fret. And let me once again play the A minor, natural minor scale, harmonized in 6 on the 1st and 3rd strings. Once again, I got up to the 12th fret, and then I started off again down here on the low strings, just to, rather than playing those 6 moving way up here on the neck, which maybe you're a little less likely to do on acoustic guitar. So there it was in A minor. Now if I were to do this on the 2nd and 4th strings, in order to play that starting to start off with the root on top, like I did here, I got to be at the 10th fret on the 2nd and 4th strings. So here's that same scale played on the 2nd and 4th strings. Starting here, I'm going to go up to the 12th, then go back down and back up the neck and land here again. Once again. So there it is in A minor on the 1st and 3rd strings, on the 2nd and 4th strings. And anytime you're playing over an A minor, you could be using those patterns of 6 over the A minor chord. And of course, you can just move these same patterns to different places, start at different places on the neck in order to grab all the other chords. And just as E minor and G major were the same, A minor and C major are the same. C major is the relative major of A minor. So all those 6, if I were to start at a different place on the neck, I would be playing over, I could use that over a C major, but I can use the same fingerings over A minor, and I just find my root in a different place. So now let's put some majors and minor chords together in order to play some riffs from some great songs. And starting with the one that I used at the top of this lesson, Peace Train. I did the first part of it in the last lesson, which was this. Now that's over C and F. C, and this part is over F. It actually just jumps back over to C for 1 second, but basically it's over an F chord. But from there, the progression, the chord progression goes. Let me just play the chords by themselves. Boom, 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 down, down, down. that's the harmony. That's what I'm going to be playing over for this. So the first part of it, which again I already showed. And then we're on an F. That part is going F, G, A minor. So I'm using the 6 that go with all those chords. F, G, A minor. F, G, F. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. So let me just play the whole riff all together. And again, tab for this on Patreon. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and there it is. Just really by following those chords and playing those 6 intervals that go with the chords. Also in the last lesson I used the example of Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison, and showed a couple of riffs, and I want to do another section of Brown Eyed Girl, this time in the chorus. This song's in the key of G. It's the part of the chorus. You're my brown-eyed girl. You're my brown-eyed girl. So, you're my brown-eyed girl. So there it's C, D, G to E minor. So over the C, I'm going to use those 6 up here at the 5th fret on the 2nd and 4th strings. And I'm just going to pick that C note on the 3rd string in between. And then I'm going to move it up 2 frets and do the same thing. That's over the C, D, and there's my 6th that happens over a G chord. So the harmonized 6 over a G. But when I land there, that's over the E minor. And there's my 6 over the E minor chord. And back to C. And I've got this little sort of turnaround over a D. Again, all played in 6. So let me do that whole riff for you. 2, 3, and... So all that is just found by kind of using those 6. It really helps, of course, to know your chord shapes. That can help you find the 6 more quickly, knowing that I'm playing these 6 on a C, and of course that's where my C bar chord is. And same here. When I'm using that on a D, I'm aware that the D bar chord is here at the 5th fret, etc. So having that orientation of where the chord shapes are around the neck is really helpful for finding these intervals as well. Here's another example, which is Operator by Jim Croce. So the chord progression on this one, G, B minor, A minor. So that quick change is really C, B minor, passing A minor, D, and back to G. So G, B minor, A minor. So that is the harmony that I'm going to be following with this lick. But I'm starting off on a G, sliding up to the 12th fret on the 2nd and 4th strings, switching to a B minor. There's that 6th over a B minor, and A minor, so I'm taking that same shape and I'm sliding it down here to the 8th and 9th fret. And then, so starting here at the 12th fret, 1st and 3rd strings, that's over a C, over a B minor, over A minor, and while I'm doing that, it's playing a quick D and back to G. So all using those 6th intervals. So here it is put together. Just a nice reinforcing of the melody and the chord progression there in operator. So the last thing I want to show you is about 7th chords. And let's say we're starting off on an A chord. If I were to play that 6th down here over an A chord on the 2nd and 4th string, 2nd fret, and I were to just slide that up fret by fret, that would give me a little piece of an A7 chord here. So this is a little bit of movement that I could use, especially in a blues sort of context. Where you might like to get that sort of 7th sound. Same if I were to go to D, and I've got that 6th interval on the at the 2nd fret, top 2 strings. If I were to slide that up fret by fret, go up 3 frets to the 5th fret, I'd have a piece of a D7 chord. So I could use that going up, coming down. And you could find that same pattern in a bunch of places on different chords. So here's a little sort of blues exercise using that. Just over in the key of A, blues, A, D, and E, 3 chords. And I'm just going to kind of find that 7th lick that I was just doing over the 3 chords. 2, 3, and... So just right all on the same string. Sliding back down over D. And I just added in some bass notes for a little harmonic context there. There it is over D. And over E. So a little sweet pattern that you can use if you want to go from a major to a seventh and maybe take it to the next chord. That's something that you can throw in there. So using these basic tools, you can learn to find these sixth intervals over any chord, so that if you're following along a chord progression, you can just be playing pieces of those chords, harmonize in sixths, and create these sweet little melody lines and riffs that can really become a core part of a guitar arrangement and of a song. So I hope you find this useful. Thanks a lot for watching. Once again, I'm Jeffrey Pepper Rogers, and I will catch you next time.